with aloha authentic.
Aloha mai, and welcome to another episode of Aloha Authentic with Kamakapili, Hawaii's only TV show that features local artisans and Hawaiian cultural practitioners and allows them to really share the mo'olelo and the kauna, or the hidden meanings of their arts and their practice. Today we have very special guest, Lomi teacher Kapono Souza from Kailua. But before we get into that, I want to introduce a new segment because we're very limited on time and there's so much to go through. This new segment is called Did You Know, and it's proudly sponsored from the Native Hawaiian Hospitality Association. Today, did you know that a comfrey plant is a Russian plant that is used medicinally to help and regenerate cells? The leaf can be easily crushed and applied to cuts or scrapes and band-aided down to help heal the wounds faster. This I very much appreciate, and I give aloha and credit to my la'au teacher, Krista Steinfeld, and her kumu from Kauai, Kumu Lavan Ohai. So just to share a little bit, if you see a comfrey plant around town, pick it and you can use it on yourself to give yourself a little bit more faster time on healing your scrapes. So did you know? Now you do. From there, we're going to go straight into this. Mahalo, Kapono. I appreciate mahalo nui.
Thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to go through. So,
okay.
Lomilomi.
Yes.
What is Lomilomi?
Ooh, depending on who you ask, it's almost like a family. You know, how many different families are there? You know, everybody has their own way of doing things. And I think from our way of doing Lomi, basically it was within our ohana, and much like many other ohana, most of that type of ike was kept within their ohana and used mostly to malama them, yeah. I learned from my grandmother, Kapono Aluli. She was a well-known musician, but I had no talent for music. But what I did realize very early on from my grandmother is the language, and in this particular was the language of touch, and that is how it was communicated to me. When I was very, very young, I spent much of my childhood and early teen years with my grandmother at her house, and I was always really, really sick. And what she used to do to me would put me on the ground, and she'd lay her hands on top of me, and they were very warm. And that was the first thing I would always feel. And it was very comforting, and the space itself became warm. And then she'd pray. And it was the prayer, for her, she was very Christian, but she would say her prayer, and I'd feel the warmth go into my body from here and start to open up my lungs. So it wasn't ever really formally spoken, it was more felt. So the way I learned it was through the language of touch, and that was through her. Later on, as I became a teenager, you know, various sprains, strains, and such and so forth. Again, my tutu, she would Lomi me, and it was through that I kind of, shall we say, ingested the ike. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It wasn't until I graduated from high school that I had what I would consider like a rebirth in terms of understanding the healing tradition that was shared indirectly through her. Yeah. And I had an opportunity in 1998 to sail down or do inter-island sails in Tahiti with Hawaiian, the Hawaiian voyaging canoe. And it was there when I saw all of our cousins doing some really amazing things. Yeah. And I thought to myself, you know, what is it that we have at home that we've given to the world? Well, we've given them surfing, we've given them hula, we've given the world Hawaiian music. But there's so much more that our Hawaiian people have. There's so much wealth and abundance. And I thought to myself, what is it that I have that was shared with me that I can give to other people? And it has always been Lomi. And what better thing that we can share with each other than how to heal? And so I've incorporated some of the ways that was taught to me, which in what I'll demonstrate later is what's called haha. It's learning how to touch and feel the body to get information, to understand those things that might be out of order. And you know, the approach is usually, the most important approach is to create a safe space. I think it's very consistent with the way we as Hawaiians do things. We always acknowledge our aumakua, our ancestors, the space. We ask for permission to come inside, and not much unlike the body, we know that the body is very special, it's sacred, and we have to treat it as such if we want to create the conditions to heal. So all of those things were kind of passed down, not so much spoken, but felt. Yeah.
I know you touched on it just a little bit, but I mean, everybody loves massage. Everybody wants to go inside, get one massage, and expecting to come out to be healed just like that.
Well, I think that's the difference. So Hawaiian people, Hawaiian ways of doing things, it was never done without intention and focus. And Lomi is no different. We have to approach it from a way of basically, what is it that I can do? What is the best that I can do for this person right now? And in order to do that, we have to ask permission. So there's a very strong link between practicing and prayer. And those two things have to always be done first, because then you can create the conditions to heal. How it's done is like family. Everybody has a different family, everybody has a different way, but that idea, that intention is pretty universal. And prayer and practice. Okay?
Well,
so we'll demonstrate that.
Okay. And kalamai, my fault, but it was perfect that we went straight to that. But I wanted to, like I do every episode, explain what's going on the table in case you see us little poo-poo and drinking a little bit here and there, that you understand what's going on.
Yeah.
But on the topic of healing and creating that energy, we get some poo-poo on the table, we get some poke, and we get some poi, straight from halo.
Yeah.
The whole point of this is, me growing up, my tutu always said, when the bowl of poi is out on the dinner table, that there is no negativity spoken. Because once you start to speak that negativity, it's going to get sucked into the poi is going to sour, and it's not going to be no good, you're not going to eat them. So on that note, with the same energy of healing, we only want to be speaking on this show about creativity and energy of healing in that sense of positivity. So the poi is going to be there, and if we do poo-poo a little bit, kalamai, but that's how it's going to go. Hopefully you go down to the store, get your own poi and poke and start grinding along with us. Now that said, let's go straight back to this.
Cool.
But the point of prayer.
Yeah.
Why is prayer so important, or how much of Lomi consists of prayer?
So Lomi is part of a kind of a what I call a holy trinity of our healing system. It's a piece of that. There's basically three different, in a very general way, ways of approaching the body. And one is Lomi, and that's external. So we're physically manipulating bones, muscle, tissue, organs to increase circulation, to increase air, wind, breath, etc., etc. The other is, say, la'aulapa'au, which is more internal, right? Although there's external, but generally, la'aulapa'au, you internalize to resolve what's going to. And the third would be, say, ho'oponopono, which is really resolving conflict on another level, When you incorporate those three pieces of the system, you're really creating the conditions for healing. The body heals itself. It wants to heal itself. The term pono, which is very common, is really about bringing you back to your preferred state. Your body prefers to be in a state of pono. It wants to be organized intelligently so that it can operate as efficiently as possible.
For those who don't know what pono is, what is your translation to pono?
So from the Lomi perspective, pono is basically bringing the body back to its kua, its center line, right? We have two halves. Nature wants to be balanced. Our bodies want to be balanced. We want to be even, and oftentimes we're not. And it'll show in the body structurally, the bones, the tissue and everything. So that tells me when you're visually looking at the body, where it's out of pono, out of its plumb line, which is its center line. And so the approach is, we always want to try to bring the body back on its center line, which is your kua mo'o, right? The way I was taught was there's three different things. There's your mo'o kuauhau, like your genealogy, which comes from your ancestors from heaven through you. That's still part of your center line. Then your kua mo'o, your kua is your spine, and then your descendants. That's your mo'o puna, your descendants. When all of those three things are lined up, then that's pono. And in order for those things, you have to create the conditions, and that's what prayer is for. Mm-hmm. How you pray is, it can be spoken, right? You can articulate it, or it can be felt, right? That's where Lomi comes in, this is the ho'okupu, the offering. It's felt. That is the prayer. Mm-hmm. Yeah? And the body and the space responds to it.
Mm-hmm. So you did touch upon about creating that safe space. Yeah. Why is that important in a Lomi sense, and how do you do that?
Think of puhonua. People go in Kawakahiko in those days, you go to a puhonua to absolve yourself, to clean yourself, to absolve yourself of whatever heva was committed, right? With our bodies, we oftentimes sabotage ourselves and take ourselves out of a space. So creating a pu'onua or a safe space already allows that person, when he or she comes into the space, already that energy is set. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it allows the body a safe place, because they're safe now. Mm-hmm. to kala, to let go, to release.
And that's important for the client that you're working on, to be comfortable for you to allow to touch their body.
Absolutely.
In the first place.
So treat the body as sacred.
Mm-hmm.
You don't walk into a church, you don't walk into a sacred space, without asking permission. If this is somebody's house, it's very traditional, is you come to a person's house, you go, "Hooey, may I come in? Oh, look what I brought. I brought something to eat." Mm-hmm. Right? So it's no different than this. This is the house. We call, we're going to say our prayer. May I come in? Is permission granted? Here is my ho'okupu. Here's the food that I'm going to share with you.
Mm-hmm. So that first initial touch to the body is actually one of the most important things.
Is the most important, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome. So just a little bit, because Kapono will be going on and demonstrating. This is our model who may be sleeping right now. Her name is Malia. Thank you, Malia, for participating. But what type of instruments or implements that you use?
Okay, so yeah, I use a few simple instruments. You don't have to. They just assist me in some of the work that I do. And this has come out of, and I've been doing this since I was 7, roughly almost 20 plus years. And over time, I have been influenced and started to kind of bring together certain components that I've noticed that work. And simple tools such as the stone is a good one. The weight and mass of the stone, it really is helpful into opening up the opu, the belly. We do use a ko'oko'o. There's several different kinds. This is kind of the long ko'oko'o. We use this to create leverage and to extend or lengthen the body, because we want to make the body as long as possible. Yeah, because it's gravity tries to compress, and over time you start to fold. So if we want to restore the body back to its state, it should be long and flexible and have good movement. Yeah. And these are one of the tools that we use to do that with.
So the tools are actually really just an extension
of
you.
Yeah. And because when you're touching or when you're using the tools, you're really extending your intention, what you're thinking, through the material, mm-hmm. right? Because it conducts. Mm-hmm. And we talk mana. It's really about intention, energy being pushed into the body, but also pulled. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a give and a take. Yeah.
Well, would you be able to show to show some stuff?
Yeah, I'll show you a few techniques, some very simple techniques, hand ones and tool ones, just so you guys can get an idea of what it looks like. Okay?
Yeah, sounds scary.
Cool. Okay, so the first thing we do, we kind of already did this, but how you feeling? You okay? This is our lovely model, Malia. Okay, so what I want to do is, are you okay if I work on you? Yeah?
Yes.
Do you feel like this work will help you? Yes. Okay. So we want to ask the question, yeah? Because if the person came in already seeking you, they believe you can help them. You see, that's really important. Okay, so I'm just going to use the water. And, you know, the idea here is we always want to be clean, yeah? So, yeah, go away one okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, so first technique. We're going ha-ha. Ha-ha is one of the ways that we can kind of see and feel is we're going to lay our hands on the body, and we're going to take a minute. We want to kind of introduce our touch, okay? My fingers, one is not going to move, the other is going to move, and just feel this one ha-ha. And what you're doing is you're just picking up texture, cues. What does the material, the tissue underneath feel like? Is it hard? Is it soft? Is it, you know, condensed? Is it palu-palu? You know? Okay. Okay, so feel. And we're basically going to work within this square. These are your corner posts, like the house. Okay. Feel the joints, the umi. Okay. So now in my mind's eye, I can kind of get an idea like this shoulder is a little bit forward because the texture feels a little bit different. So in this particular style, there's male and female, right? Ku and hina, up and down, left and right. Energetically, the body will respond to hard, deep touch and soft touch. One is male, one is female. So this is what it looks like. Male, here, it's going to make contact. Okay. Female, I'm going to turn. Okay, here. So it goes all the way down, like here. This is female's move, okay? So kahi, lua, kolu, 1. Kahi, lua, kolu, 2. I'm going to clean. Kahi, lua, kolu. So this hand moves the ili, the surface tissue. This hand creates pressure down on the umi and the joint, okay? But they're connected. Kolu, kolu. Okay, switch. This one doesn't move, this one moves and down. Kahi. Ua.
So the two things that I'm really seeing is that there's an importance to the balance of duality.
Yep.
And then also patience. Of
So
going slow.
there's rules. The first is do no harm, right? So this is a safe space. The objective here is to not hurt, but to heal, to help, okay? Second rule is be inclusive, right? Some people call it lokahi. So being inclusive is acknowledging that this body is a physical body. It has a mind, but also has a spirit. So I want to include all of those pieces of who this person is. Yeah? I want to acknowledge that your body is safe, your mind is safe, your spirit is safe, everybody that's here to assist you is here now. That's being inclusive. Yeah? You also want to be like kind of olu olu, kind of soft, you know. And the most important thing, which is the hardest, is to be patient. So just like conflict, right? It doesn't resolve itself immediately. If the body has entanglement, we have to remove ourselves and let the body give itself permission and be patient to allow it to soften itself. And you'll see that in their breathing. So what you're looking for is what's called biofeedback, right? The feedback that you get, the language, the nonverbal communication that you're seeing is telling you, okay, I can let the body recover. And then when you see, then you can go back in and you can start again. And that's the hardest part, because you know, in other systems, it oftentimes doesn't acknowledge. You sometimes tend to be fighting the body instead of working with it. Okay, so that's one. That's going to just open up the shoulder. Say we want to open up this way. I may opt. See how this elbow, and again, it's what is the body communicating to you? It's communicating to me like this is holding here. This elbow shouldn't be like that. It should be flat. There's some resistance. So I may opt to use my ko'o, which is this, and we use it like a lever. And this is called kiko'oko, where you're actually going to lengthen along that line there. So I'm going to pull here, come this way, okay, change my position, okay, I'm going to come into the lat, kai, kolu, kai, kolu, kolu. As I go in circles, I'm doing the full range of motion on the joint. There you go. As I pull.
What is the importance, like what is the symbolism of a circle?
Well, our bodies are shapes, right? We're not necessarily a line, we're more curved. The main shapes that the body likes to fit in is a square, well, let's say rectangle, a triangle, and a circle. When we do circular movements, 360 degrees, like joints should be free, yeah? They should move effortlessly. And oftentimes along that circle, you'll find where there's resistance because certain muscles try to resist, right? But if we want to restore the body back to a state of grace, or what we're calling pono here, it needs to be able to move freely in space, right? And that's the objective. So we use that circular movement to, one, find where the resistance is, but also you're going to talk to the body, whether it's spoken or felt. Okay, it's safe. You can let go. You can kala. You can release, yeah?
I know one person, they told me, and referring, because since you have your apu on top of the table, one thing I've realized is when some people, before they drink their cup of ava, they always mix their apu prior to drinking it. So for me, that was a way of amplifying the mana before you get to drink it. So in this sense of healing, that shape creates that, at least in your mind, the amplifying of the healing property.
Absolutely. So the idea is you can, when you move, you can charge, amplify, or you can discharge, right? You know, you hear this and see it a lot in, say, chanting, right? When you resonate, you amplify the sound in the space, right? That's manaleo, yeah? Say music, same thing. When you hear those, internally you change, right? That sound has to be pleasing. If it's not, then it also create some issues as well, yeah? So in the movement, in this case, what I'm doing is not so much projecting sound, but I'm suggesting suggesting that it can move freely like that.
So with just a couple minutes left,
Yeah.
what would be the one main message that you would want the audience to take away from at least your style of Lomi, or Lomi in general?
I would say find what works for you. Take ownership, right? Stewardship of your body, right? And seek out those that can assist you, because there's this idea of two. You can't do it yourself. You need somebody else to complement you, right? Lomi is one way of doing it. Massage is another way. Eating good food, surrounding yourself with really good people, all of these things come into play to create the best possible person that you can be. And when those things go out of alignment, find people that can assist you, for sure. If not, come see me. We can talk story.
Right on.
Okay.
Well, with just a minute left, I just want to thank
Okay.
Kapono, first of
Okay.
all, for coming and
So
sharing your
welcome,
manaʻo,
yes,
because
sir.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who, again, are very interested in massage and don't really know the difference between massage and Lomi. And for me, bringing Kapono on was to really clarify or to lay the foundation that there is a difference and what the difference really is, and how, at least in Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian mentality, to approach
Okay.
healing your body.
I can just jump in on that
Yeah.
real quick. So, Lomi and massage, both have their advantages, their strengths. Yeah. What I would say the difference is in massage, it's a little bit more impersonal. You're not as immersed or involved. Where in Lomi, you're ritualizing the work, and that can be applied to anything you want to do. When you create your ritual, when you create a space with certain intentions, and in this case the intention is to pono this, make this body as best as possibly can, then everything that follows behind that is amplified. Yeah. The techniques and that's all secondary. It's really the intention. You have to create a sacred space. Once that is set, it becomes Lomi. Yeah.
Oh, right on. Mahalo
Okay.
nui Kapono. I want to thank you to Hawaii Culture and Retail Association for sponsoring Aloha Authentic and allowing the show to be on the air for you to be able to ingest and digest all the manaʻo and the ike that has been shared. If you want to catch up on any past episodes, be sure to check out either Aloha Authentic on Facebook or www.kamakapili.com. Until next time, aloha and auiho.
See the spirit of aloha through the arts with all